And we're back. It is a glorious Thursday. Can you hear me? I feel
I got you. Okay. Just about to I still time. Now we're past the minute. You can curse again.
I guess so. Yeah, I did that on purpose. That is specifically why our intro is about a minute long, because you can't curse for the first I don't know what 1 minute on YouTube. Then like a problem or something like that. Some nonsense like that. I don't even want to curse now. Now I'm feeling like I'm. It's not that I want to hold it back. It's just like I feel like I don't have anything to curse about at this moment. My wife said, "Thanks a lot, Anthony. You and your fellow parade goers made her late to work today." So
I was not at the parade.
Anthony was totally at the ticker tape parade celebrating the New York Liberty's first WNBA championship. It was Anthony and 6 of his friends. They were the entirety of the celebratory crowd that logjam a lot of New York City traffic.
Listen. I was in that traffic today. It was a nightmare trying to navigate the city. If you think I had any part of that with the tens of fans that joined, you're out of your mind. There's no way I was sitting there watching the Liberty celebrate. Okay,
in all seriousness,
I know I'm only getting this because I watched 2 minutes of an overtime game because I was like, I was interested. It's like it's a tie game, they're in overtime. Let's see how this ends. And then now all of a sudden, I'm the biggest WNBA fan. And it's probably watching 2 minutes of WNBA is probably makes me the biggest WNBA fan because not many people watch WNBA, and 2 minutes is a lot to watch. And it was the worst 2 minutes of basketball I've ever seen in my life. Just so
I will say this: I'm not a big basketball fan. I'm a Knicks fan, and that is not I'm a Knicks fan when I feel like it. It's like no, if I don't really watch basketball, I'm not a diehard. I'm not an Anthony Donahue. I'm a Knicks fan in the sense that I'm from New York. The Knicks are New York's team, so if I had to pick a team to root for in basketball, I would only know to root for the Knicks because that's the only team I know. Like that's it. I grew up with the Knicks. The Knicks are my team. That's it. Like I'm not a diehard. I would never claim to be a diehard. I don't know everything about the Knicks, but I know about the Knicks. I know enough about the Knicks to care about the Knicks. All that being said, not being a giant basketball fan, I don't care about the WNBA, and it is not a personal type deal where it's like, oh, it's women, so I don't give a damn. I don't like basketball to start with. So why would I care about women's basketball if I don't even like men's basketball? And I know some people are going to say, "Oh, that's sexist. Like, why is men's basketball more important?" Well, quite frankly, it's a more physical game. It's like arguing why it's more entertaining to watch men's weightlifting than it is women's. Well, men lift more. Like, men are taller than women. Men can dunk. Like all the things that I can't do, these guys in the NBA can do. All the things that I can't do, these women in the WNBA also can't do.
And in your defense, you don't watch men's college basketball. Like you don't.
I don't like basketball. I find basketball to be the absolute.
Not a sexist thing.
I absolutely find basketball to be the easiest game ever invented. Be tall, and you're automatically better than most people who are not tall. Like, yeah. You take 2 people, give them the exact same attributes, except one is 6'8" and the other one's 5'8", and you tell me who you're going to put on your basketball team that day. And if you say the 6'8" guy, then you admit that basketball is easier if you're tall. And that's the only part of the game that I'm really getting into. Basketball is just too easy to me. Put a midget on the rim, and it just became more complicated because now there's actual defense. Blindfold the midget and give him a stick, and he just waves the stick back and forth to try to prevent the ball from going in, like a flipper, like almost like a freaking like you're playing pinball. and the midget's blindfolded, and he has to listen for his teammates to go swing now. He can't just leave the stick in front of the hoop. He's got to like swing it at the exact right moment so that it knocks the ball out, but he can't see the ball.
This is ridiculous.
And then furthermore, I think it would be more entertaining because then if you don't hit nothing but net, then you're gonna hit the midget on the rim with the ball.
Oh yeah, they might fall off and get hurt. But
I don't know about him falling off and getting hurt. I think we could come up with some sort of suspension system to ensure his safety.
Oh yeah, that's true. Probably.
But you could bank it off the midget, and he and he has no idea. You know what I mean? Like he's just sitting there taking one off his forehead. Bop! Right there, 2 points.
They're gonna someone from some sort of like little person coalition is gonna come after us about this. The last 3 minutes.
Tyrion Lannister coming at us
of Nick talking about this. Jesus. I mean, it sounds like a fun sport, but
I'm just saying it would make the game more interesting. That's all I'm saying.
I know it's true because
it would add a level of complexity that the game doesn't have right now. Because somewhere along the way, somebody realized that if you're closer to the rim, the game is that much easier. If they outlaw dunking and layups tomorrow, then being tall probably doesn't have that advantage anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like they recently were talking about how like the big man's phasing out, but like the last 3 or 4 MVPs were Giannis and Jokic, which are both very tall men. So I mean,
I'm sorry, but you got to understand, like people sit there and be like, "Oh, that's not true. Steph Curry's great, and he's not that tall." Steph Curry's 6'3". In what world is that not tall? Like, I just want to point out that the average athlete in the Olympics the average male athlete in the Olympics is like 6'1.5". So if you're over 6'1.5", then you are taller than most athletes in the Olympics. So to sit there and say, well, Steph Curry's only 6'3", he's not 5'6".
I know, and like Jalen Brunson's
not Altuve short.
And Jalen Brunson's like 6'1", 6'2", and he like remember we showed a video of him. Well, not video, I think we talked about it, but he was with LA Knight. And he towered over LA Knight, and he's like 6'2".
Absolutely, and that's my point is that people will sit there and be like, "Oh, this basketball player is not that tall." He's not tall compared to everybody else standing around him because they're all 6'7". So yeah, you're right. For all intents and purposes, Steph Curry's not that tall because he's 6'3", and everybody he works with is 6'8".
And like 7 foot.
But I promise you, he is not short by any stretch or measure. He is not short.
He could still dunk. He just chooses not to.
I want to point out that Mickey Mantle was like 5'11".
I didn't know that.
Or 5'10". I want to say he was 5'10". Mike Trout is 6 foot, maybe. I think that's a lie, honestly. I think he's like 5'11".
Mike Trout,
yeah. Mike Trout. And that's why I like sports like hockey and baseball and football. There is no prerequisite size, right? You could be a 5'10" running back, or you could be a 6'3" running back and be equally good, no matter what. Like Curtis Martin is a Hall of Famer, 5'10".
Yeah,
and then you see somebody like Eddie George, Hall of Famer, 6'4".
Yeah,
they play the exact same position.
Yeah,
you could be a 5 foot, and you could be a 5'10" receiver, or you could be a 6'7" receiver. Yeah. You're still playing the same position. Your skill set slightly alters, right? Obviously, because if you're taller, you're gonna be a bit of a bruiser. You're gonna be a strong body. You may not be as agile, yes, but you can still be just as effective. And the same thing with baseball. Pedro Martinez is 5'10" through 95,
except for quarterback. You got to be really. I mean, there's shorter quarterbacks.
Drew Brees is 5'10".
Is he 5'10" or 6 foot?
No, he's not. That's a fucking lie. He's 5 foot. With cleats on, yeah, he might be 6 foot. Drew Brees, Doug Flutie. Doug Flutie's not tall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying there's some of them there, but they're not.
Oh, no, I no. What I'm saying is, on the whole, in football, right? Overall, there is no prerequisite size. Obviously, you can't be a 5'9" fucking offensive lineman. But there is a space for you in football under 6 foot.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's 5'11". So
there you go, Russell Wilson, perfect example. Darrelle Revis is only like 5'11".
Oh, really?
Yeah, Darrelle Revis is not tall. He's about 5'11". Deion Sanders is like 6 foot. Say again.
I don't realize he was that short. Darrelle Revis.
Ty Law is 5'10".
Look it up.
So like I said, there is a space for you. It may not be at the position that you want, but they have a spot for you on a football team if you can do other things physically well. But in basketball, for the most part, unless you are super, super special, if you're under 6 foot, you ain't playing in the NBA.
My mind's blown right now. I never knew Darrelle Revis was 5'1", covering like TO. That makes it actually more incredible.
He's not 5'1". He's 5'10".
I mean, 5'11". He's 5'11". But I'm
5'11".
saying, I'm him when he's 5'11". He was like locking down
So
like Randy Moss and like T.O.
if you
and like
if you look at most cornerbacks are under 6'2". 6'1" and below, because it is not easy to run backwards with long legs and you can't turn your hips around.
I got you.
So you become very strong up front so that you can fuck up their route before they take off. So you throw the paws on them as hard as possible. Like if you were to ever watch video footage of Darrelle Revis, when the ball gets snapped, the first stiff arm that he gives the receiver at the line of scrimmage is one of the most violent things I've ever seen. Because you can make that 5 yards of contact.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5
First
yards.
thing that he'll show you is he'll take his hand and go across his body, and basically whatever move the receiver does to try to get by him, he just snuffs the shit out of him at the line of scrimmage and fucks his route up. And that's why he was so good, is he just like slapped the shit out of the guy in his opposing shoulder. So if he leaned his right shoulder forward, Revis took his right hand and just snuffed the shit out of his right shoulder to push him back so that he couldn't move forward. And that was
I just didn't realize his height. I always thought he was a little bit tall. I mean, I'd say I didn't think he was like 6'5". I thought he was like 6'1", 6'2", maybe. But
major ups and just overall strength. Like I said, if you're taller, it makes it like when you're playing cornerback, you're taught to get your hips down so that you can turn around.
Yeah.
You're taller, it's harder to drop your hips to run backwards or take those few steps backwards and then turn around to chase a wide receiver. But again, there's a space for you in football under 5 foot, under 6 foot. There's a space for you in football. In baseball, there's absolutely a space for you under 6 foot. In hockey, there are shorter skaters out there. But in basketball, if you're under like 6'2", you need to do something so incredibly amazing that they want you. Like you have to be able to shoot three pointers from the freaking half court line consistently, or you need to be such a ball handler like Muggsy Bogues that you can just be super uber. There is no average player under 6'1" in the NBA.
No, that's true. I agree with that.
They're just not going to make it. I mean, it's hard to be 6'3" or 6'4" as an average player in the NBA. They're going to be like, really, bro? You couldn't at least be tall?
I mean,
and then, of course, there's, those certain people that'll sit there and be like, well, this guy was tall and he sucked. Yeah, but he still got paid to play basketball. Yeah,
but you loop us around. This whole conversation about height brings us back to why the WNBA stinks at shooting.
Why did you watch it for the whole season? Damn, bro.
I didn't watch it the whole season. I really watched 2 minutes of an overtime game.
Did you, though?
I was interested. They scored 7 points total. Or 9 points total in the overtime combined for two teams. It's a 5-minute overtime. These women look exhausted. They played a 5-game series. I think there's only like 2 rounds before the finals. And like you got to buy into the finals pretty much. It's like, or buy into the semifinals. It's something like ridiculous. And they're apparently trying to make the next year the series longer. And like these girls couldn't play 5 games. How are they going to play 7?
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even know they were playing until you said something. I had no idea. And it's no disrespect to the WNBA. I don't really like basketball that much. Congratulations to the New York Liberty on their first championship win. Good for them. I'll clap it up for them. I just don't feel like they have a large enough fan base that it was worth shutting down Broadway for it.
I didn't look up any videos or anything. I wanted to see how many people actually were there.
From what I understand from people that we know that are in the know about as city employees that
they were there,
that had to clean up the event or provide security for the event, that nobody was there.
It's like terrible.
They got paid overtime to like
and I'm telling
provide security and clean up for an event that basically never happened.
And like where I go to, like I go to a city to get to Brooklyn, so I come from Jersey, so. You should go through downtown Manhattan to get to downtown Brooklyn. Every other block had an officer directing traffic. I'm like, how many officers do they have here for this parade that no one's going to be going to?
And again, that's not us being derogatory about the WNBA. It's just a statement of fact. There weren't people there.
Nobody was there. There was no one there.
Like nobody cut work today to go to the parade.
Like I'm like if there's a parade. Again, I'm not going to say for who, but like it's going to be a disaster.
I promise you, if there's a parade again this year, I'll be there. So I don't even care.
Yeah, I'll probably be there too. But I'll just call it sick for work. No one record that.
I mean,
No, moving on.
I've been hearing you cough for the last couple minutes, so clearly,
I haven't cleared my throat. But let's say moving on. Let's start off with the big story around here in New York sports. Let's go.
Let's go.
Nick.
I'm just, before we move on, I am looking at like a little bit of footage from the parade today. There were people there, but I just for people's like, just to try to like let you know what we're talking about here. When you go to a Yankee parade for the Yankees win the World Series, or the Giants or the Rangers, you can't walk down the streets of New York.
No.
They actually take the boundaries and they move them into the street to accommodate people, to try to get people so that you can walk behind the crowds that are trying to see the athletes that are coming down on parade floats and whatnot. Just looking at this footage, it seems like the boundaries on the curb, like right off the curb, and then like it's maybe 2 rows of people on each side. So basically the rest of the sidewalk is wide open for you to walk down Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot of extra city employees.
I'm like, like anyone who's not a Yankee, like not from New York City, like Broadway's dead center of like the financial center and like downtown Manhattan. There's a ton of people who have to go to work down there, and they just shut it down for. I know, I get it sounds misogynistic, but
I will say this:
got comments coming in.
If the Brooklyn Cyclones won their championship, they wouldn't get a parade down Broadway. No, because there aren't enough Brooklyn Cyclones fans.
No. And the Brooklyn Nets, they weren't even going to do. Apparently, the Brooklyn Nets, when they were with Kyrie and then the three, and they were already, putting the cart before the horse. They were saying that they were going to plan on their parade being in downtown Brooklyn, not downtown Manhattan. Which
that kind of makes sense though, simply because they're the Brooklyn Nets. They're not the New York Nets.
But the Liberty play in Barclays Center. So
yes, but they are still
in Brooklyn.
They're still the New York Liberty, though. Like the Yankees don't have a parade in the Bronx.
But like you said, there's just enough room for the floats to come like through the thing. Did you see the Liberty? No, but he said this makes sense too, because this was NYC and NYC Football Club didn't even get a parade. They got a City Hall ceremony, which I do remember that. That
makes sense though, but people aren't
going to go to an NYC Football Club championship parade.
Yeah, and very similarly to the Liberty. And again, I'm not crapping on the Liberty. I'm just saying, like, was it worth shutting down New York and spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars to pay overtime to city employees for a parade that really didn't garner the type of attendance that a real, like, it wasn't even it's not the St. Patrick's Day parade. It wasn't the fucking Puerto Rican Day parade. It wasn't the LGBTQ parade, the Pride event. It wasn't the Columbus Day parade.
Well, shout out to my my niece and nephew here. They wanted to say hi, Uncle Anthony. What's up, guys? Miss you.
Again, that parade just kind of wasted everybody's time today. And congratulations to them, but then we need to better evaluate what we're doing and why we're doing it. If you're doing it just because you want to stay equal with it, like, are we really spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to show that we care? Like, when we actually don't, like, shit.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the City Hall ceremony would have been just fine.
Yeah,
it would have been perfectly fine. You're still showing that you care. I mean, and like you said, the fact that the barriers were on the curb and not like on the street, that like just shows that it's.
You know, Yankee parades, the barriers, they have to move them in about 5 to 8 feet. You're on the bike path at that point.
Yeah, and you got to get to the parade at like. Like 10:30. You gotta be there at 7 a.m. or earlier.
You're there at 6:30. Like, you're there with the city employees setting up,
and you're just waiting for them to come.
Yeah, that's it. And if you want to be at City Hall, God bless, start the night before.
Oh yeah, I was just going to mention that the U.S. women's national team, when they won the World Cup, they got a parade through New York City, because that's like I don't know why they picked New York City, but that's what they picked it. But I wonder if the parade was bigger for that or today.
I don't. L the Elephant has some sick moves though. I don't know what L the Elephant is.
I think that's the mascot for Liberty.
Why?
I
wouldn't it be Lady Liberty?
I don't know. Hashtag
All right, we drive on.
We drive on to the.
We drive on baseball. We played the music. We didn't talk about it because I was looking at the damn parade. The World Series starts tomorrow. One thing I did catch today, and it has nothing to do with the World. I mean, it has this much to do with the World Series. Some Mets fan posted a picture of Juan Soto in a Mets jersey and said, like, tonight starts the last series. He'll play in a Yankee uniform. Everybody proceeded to go in there and be like, first of all, dickhead, the World Series starts tomorrow. Second of all, why would he ever play for the Mets?
Let's just reset it, because we were here last week on Thursday night. Awful game 3. Literally, as we logged off, they lost the game. Then we have the next 2 games. Friday night game was fun. Saturday night game obviously was amazing with Juan Soto. That game didn't end. It was in extras and then until it's like almost midnight.
That's an overtime you want to watch.
That's something you want to watch. And that at bat by Soto was just incredible. He was on him. He was waiting for it, and he just was waiting for his pitch. And luckily, that ball just kept carrying. I don't know if as Aaron Judge was talking about how the ghost was just carrying stuff. That might have been one of those Yankees ghosts just pushing that ball out, because I thought that was an out. The way he was camping underneath it, then he slowly drifts into the wall. Man, when that went over the wall, I started screaming so loud. I thought I was waking both my girls up. I thought I was going to be in trouble. I was going to be like, they're going to be up now. I'm going to put them back to sleep. I'm going to miss the bottom of the 10th. I'm
legit like sitting there watching it, and I'm excited. I think I've let the Jets ruin me as a fan for anything now, because I get to the point where I'm like Chris, and I'm pessimistic about everything that could possibly happen. With my teams, I expect them to let me down, because it's been such a long time since I've had any happiness from anyone. I always said, like, my nephew, I say my sister's going to raise him to be a Jets fan, but his father's a Mets fan, but my sister's a Yankee fan. And I tell my brother-in-law, I go, Ian, you got to let him be a Yankee fan. You can't have him be a loser all the time. Like, being a Mets and a Jets fan is probably the worst thing you could do to a child. Like, you got to have happiness at least for half the year.
Yeah.
You got to be able to look forward to something. Like, you can't sit there and be like, it's football season, I hate my life. And then be like, oh, it's baseball season, I hate my life even more. Like, you got to have. I'm
going to stop you, because listen, we're both Ranger fans, right?
But the Rangers make the playoffs, man.
They make the playoffs, and they're consistently good. They have not won a championship, but it's a lot more fun being a Rangers fan than being because I know your brother-in-law is a huge Ranger fan, so obviously.
Oh, absolutely, yes, and that's true.
So at least he has that break as well, because the Rangers are usually really good. They just haven't won a championship in 30 years.
And you know what though, and that's the deal. Like, the Yankees haven't won a championship in a long time, but they're consistently good. The Mets have only ever made the playoffs twice in a decade since they've been in existence. So, like, they made it, I want to say in 2021, they made it to the playoffs, and they made it this year.
2022 and then this year.
At 22 and this year.
Cards.
Right? Mets fans, if they don't make it till 2030, don't fucking sit there and pretend like I didn't tell you.
But also, you got to think about, too, the Mets wouldn't have made the playoffs both those times. It wasn't for the third wild.
Without them expanding fucking the playoffs to include everybody, to include the Mets.
Yeah.
And shit, they almost didn't make it this year.
They almost did, and that's because they started awful to begin with. So, and they're now eliminated. So last week we were talking about how a possibility of having the Mets, Yankees playing the Subway Series.
Stop it! I knew that wasn't happening,
but that didn't happen. The Dodgers took care of business. They knocked out the Mets, and we drive on here now. We have the World Series coming up tomorrow night. I guess some predictions. I know my brother already commented here, so bring it up. He said Yankees in 6. I kind of agree with him. 6 or 7, I think I'm on the fence with. I think it's going to be a long series. I also think the Yankees are going to be more battle tested than the Dodgers were, because if you look at the game the Dodgers have played the last 2 weeks against the Mets, they were all just blowouts.
No nail biters.
There was no nail biters. It was either the Dodgers were up by a lot or the Mets were up by a lot. I know they play tough games in Padres, but that was still it's like 3 or 4 weeks ago now.
See, I worry about being burnt out from that.
From being burnt out from being in tight games?
Yes, absolutely. The year 2003, when the Yankees beat the Red Sox in 7 on that Aaron Boone home run, By the time they got to the Marlins, they were fucking exhausted.
They were. I agree with that.
You could tell just by how they were playing. You were just sitting there like, wow, these guys look beat, man. That previous series went 7 games, and here they are, and they're playing against the fucking Florida Marlins of all teams. Talk about teams that don't have fans. The fucking New York Liberty have more fans than the Florida Marlins.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is too with that, I guess being gassed out, but then the next year, you had the Red Sox took those 4 games, obviously 2004 we're not talking about, but they won 4 straight against the Yankees in tough games, and they went on to win the World Series. So I mean, it is like there's evidence for both ways, and it's just I feel like the Dodgers it was just easy, right? It wasn't even there was no heartbreaking losses. Like the Yankees game 3 was a tough loss to take, and they bounced right back and they won game 4. So I think they have that ability to bounce back at this point. They've been showing it throughout the playoffs. And like, granted, I know people are like, oh, the Yankees should have just beat up on the Royals and the Guardians, but they had tighter series than expected, and they still pulled out the wins. I mean,
I don't even think it's as expected.
5 games.
I think that people just sat there and underestimated both those franchises.
I agree with you. I think
Guardians are a bad team. Everybody's making it seem like the fucking Mets and the Dodgers were so great. Maybe the Dodgers were. Maybe like everybody's sitting there go, oh, the Mets beat this team. They beat the Phillies. Maybe the Phillies just weren't that good. Maybe the Guardians are just not getting the respect that they deserve. They played a great series. Everything was close. The Royals, I will say the Royals, they got Bobby Witt Jr., but they're not as good. They're not. They're not as good.
Decent pitching. Seth Lugo was really good this year.
They do, but there's nobody that's really blowing wind up my skirt. But the Guardians won their division, and somebody out there will sit there and say, oh, but they beat up on the White Sox to do it. And the Mets beat up on the fucking Nationals and the Marlins.
Yeah.
Or at least they tried to, but still barely scraped by to make the playoffs. Like, baseball's not that game where you could just sit there and call some team a fucking cupcake because you still have to win more than once. It's not football where you win on one day and that's it. I'm better than you forever because I won one Sunday.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, with the way the Guardians play baseball is a lot different than the Yankees play baseball. The Yankees are going to mash you to death. There's going to be a lot of strikeouts. There's going to be a lot of, maybe we're going to base hit here and there, and then we'll hit a blast. And that's basically what you saw throughout the Guardians series. The Guardians play brand baseball. It's just base hits, walks, grind out at bats. And that is a lot. It's difficult to deal with. So you never know. I mean, you go against the Dodgers. They're obviously a similar team to the Yankees. They got that firepower. They got a couple guys get base hits. Tommy Edman played out of his mind in the NLCS. I mean, he had a great game 6. I think he had like 4 or 5 RBIs in that game. So, I mean, listen, it's still going to be tough. It's the World Series, but I think I like the Yankees' chances only because I think they're more battle tested than the Dodgers are.
I will say this. Do not underestimate the aura. Do not underestimate the mystique. And some people will sit there and say, oh, it didn't go with them from the old stadium. The new stadium's not the same. I am intrigued to see the performance of Shohei Ohtani in this World Series. Because if I've seen anything, that guy cannot play baseball at Yankee Stadium. His ERA at Yankee Stadium is like 6 point something. His batting average is like 180 with like 1 home run or 2 home runs and like 2 RBIs or 3 RBIs or something like that. And this isn't over the like 1 or 2 games. This is over like somewhere between 6 and 9 games. You know, so we're talking about somewhere between 12 and 18 at bats where he's gotten like 2 hits, 3 hits at Yankee Stadium. He's had 2 starts or 3 starts as a pitcher there, and he's gotten his tits lit every single time. I don't think he's made it past the 3rd inning as a pitcher at Yankee Stadium. And to that effect, go back and watch this last series against the Mets. That home run, I still think it was foul. They never showed a replay showing that ball be fair, probably because it was foul. And they were like, fuck, he hit a home run and we already called it. And we need Ohtani to hit home runs because he's the fucking golden goose. But not only that, but like all the games, he would get a base hit in his first at bat and then go over for the rest of the game. Do you know what was interesting about the games that he would get that base hit to start the game? Usually the Yankees game was still on and nobody turned on the Mets game yet. I'm being very serious when I say that. I know it sounds like a dig. It is not a dig. I'm very serious when I say the games where the Yankees were still playing and the Mets had the later game.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani is leading off the game with a base hit. He'd score. Yes, absolutely. He'd score. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, nobody's watching that game yet because we're watching the other game. Like the other game is still on and it's in extra innings or it's in the 9th inning or whatever the case might be. but he did not have a good playoff series, and neither did Judge. I'm very intrigued to see how Judge plays going back to LA, where he broke his foot and ended his season last year, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, Judge kind of turned it on a little bit in the last couple games, so I think if he's hot, I mean, sucks because he had the week off, but he was kind of getting hot again. So I mean, you never know. I think Judge might have maybe got over the yips, basically what he was having in the postseason, because he was just never good. In the postseason, he's always struggling. It was just like the beginning of this postseason, we're kind of like, all right, here we go again. This is Judge. He's struggling. He's not going to be the guy that we have in the in the regular season. Juan Soto's that guy. Like Juan Soto is totally that guy. He's just moment's never too big. My computer.
Giancarlo Stanton, postseason Stanton was the guy that we thought we were trading for when we traded for the Marlins, but we thought we were going to get him 365, not just October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your brother says Yankees had better starters. The Dodgers lineup is more complete. He's scared of Kike, not Kike. He has great numbers versus the Yankees pitchers, but if Judge Stanton doesn't show up, the Yankees will win, and that's pretty true. As long as the pitching does well, and he says the Yankees big guys have good numbers. What's that?
Sorry, my computer. I know my computer's freezing. My computer keeps freezing on me. Sorry. So I don't know if you can hear me, but Kike is he was in the Red Sox that won I think they're not in the championship. They went to the ALCS that one year when no one expected them to. So he's got that. He's been there. He won the World Series 2020 with the Dodgers too. He's one guy that scares me. He always has big game home runs. You can't take him lightly. He's in the bottom of the lineup and he could do damage down there. And I think the one guy that really does scare me. Now, there's a reason why my computer was freezing because I was trying to look up his stats. I do it on my phone, I guess. Teoscar Hernandez owns the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like when he came to town in the Dodgers in that 3-game series over the summer, I was like, Teoscar Hernandez, I'm going to bet on him at home run every game because he's going to hit one. I think he hit like 3 in that series. So he's the one that scares me. I don't know what it is. I know he was in Toronto for the longest of time, so we've seen the Yankees plenty of times. But it's when he sees the pinstripes or just having the Yankees on the sideline, he's locked in, and he's a guy that kind of scares me. So that guy, he'll worry me more than Ohtani does. Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman. He is Freddie Freeman's a great ball player. I know he hasn't been as great this year. He did a lot.
He's a ball player. And that's the thing. He's a ball player.
He's a ball player. He's like an business guy.
He's a grinder. Yeah. He's a guy out there that he's a baseball guy, and you got to appreciate a baseball guy. You can't. And
he's talked with a lot of personal stuff on this off the field, which is why I think his numbers are probably a little down. His son was really
he's got a broken ankle too, or fractured ankle.
Then he got hurt too. So I mean, he's doing a lot. So he hasn't had a typical Freddie Freeman season, and Mookie Betts really hasn't had either.
He's still Freddie Freeman, and he's still Mookie Betts. They're definitely guys.
No, I'm not trying. I'm thinking lightly of them.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Judge. Judge is still Judge. Like, is he having a great postseason? Absolutely not. But you know what the great thing about the postseason is, especially for baseball? There's still 4 games left to win. You could change the whole narrative right now if you go on fire in the World Series.
Yeah.
You go out there and you win yourself a World Series MVP. Nobody's gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, that Aaron Judge, he sucks in the postseason. Really? He just won you a World Series. Yeah. I mean, he sucks other than that World Series MVP. But other than that, he's trash. Like nobody's sitting there saying that. I want to see Judge do well. I don't know if that's the case. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. The one thing that I'm not looking forward to is West Coast games. Because if they start any of these games at fucking 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night.
No, they're not. They're all the 8 o'clock.
All right. I mean, I can survive that. It's annoying, but I can survive it. But like the West Coast swing sucks. I'm sorry. The West Coast. I'm sorry. If you live on the left coast, you live on the wrong coast. All right.
I think it's too it's a lot of traveling, and they only get 1 day off between. There's only 2
Why did they just get a week off? That's what I want to know.
Well, because if you think about it, if the Yankees series went 7 it would have ended on Tuesday, I think.
But it didn't.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's because that's just like their schedule is already preset.
Why? No, it's not, because you don't know where the games are going to be played.
No, it's preset because when the Yankees were in the ALCS, I already knew the World Series, the day one of World Series would be the Friday.
I get that, but the schedule doesn't need to be preset. The fact that The fact that they played the Yankees won a day earlier and the Dodgers still got like 4 days rest, 5 days rest is ridiculous.
Yeah, it didn't matter. The Yankees won. And everyone was like, "Oh, if the Yankees finish in 5, at least they'll get a little extra rest." They got a day extra rest.
They got like a half a day, not even like a full day, a half day.
And they really weren't resting because they were probably up all night drinking on Saturday.
Yeah. So like, well, it pissed me off. Did you happen to catch? Did the Yankees have a voluntary?
My brother asked which manager. I mean, I think we both know.
Dave Roberts has advantage.
I would say Dave Roberts only because I really don't like Aaron Boone as a manager.
He's already been to the World Series.
He has been there before, but Roberts is not the greatest manager either.
It was a Fugazi fucking championship, but he's been there.
Yeah, but he's done dumb shit. Like they've lost with him like plenty of time. Like there's been better Dodger teams that won the world, like could have went on to win the World Series, and they didn't. Than that 2020 team. So like it's like. Yeah, I mean, who has the edge? I mean, I'd say Dave Roberts because he's been there before, and Aaron Boone is Aaron Boone, and he's gonna make. Sometimes he has trouble managing a bullpen, even though I kept bashing his management of the bullpen in the ALCS, and it actually ended up working out for him. I mean, he had Mark Leiter, who just came off the, basically off the bench, added to the roster because who was it? Ian Hamilton got hurt. He didn't make the roster, and you're putting this guy into high leverage situations, and he got out of it every time. You saw Tim Hill get some really big innings, and I was just like, this guy's pitched every game in the LCS. How are you going back to him? And Tim Hill got it done. And Jake Cousins, 4 Ks in Game 5 and a tie game 2-2.
Big game for Jake Cousins.
I mean, that was balls from Aaron Boone, so I give him credit for that. But I don't know.
The problems that we have with Aaron Boone is not based on a series by series or any of that crap. It's based on how he manages the team and their effort beyond this playoff series. That's all. That's what it comes down to. When you're continuously complaining about players doing the same things over and over again and it does not get corrected, that is a direct reflection on management. When players don't hustle, when players don't know how many outs there are, when players don't focus to sit here and make plays, when your players say stupid shit like Jazz Chisholm, who's just sitting there antagonizing people and like you don't even back, like shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like if you're going to sit there and talk shit, you better do something good. Don't sit there and talk shit and then suck because that's all Jazz Chisholm did. Did not play good baseball for the entirety of he hit 1 home run in a game we got blown out, and that was it. Like, what was the point? What was the point? So, I think that's my problem. My problem is his teams generally lack discipline, and that's my issue with Aaron Boone. Aside from his decision making, which usually is a computer making those decisions, it's just simple shit like that.
Another question too, because this is actually a big one. Nestor Cortez they're saying he could possibly play in the World Series and pitch with his injury. My brother said, "Will Nestor be effective?" I think he wants to take the ball and risk further injury because he did say his comment was that if I have a ring on my finger and I'm missed the entire year of baseball next year, I don't care. And I like that mentality. And you're right. I mean, once again, I said he could be a huge weapon if he's healthy, and it's true he could be. But he's got to be healthy. If he's not 100%, it's a real huge risk to put him in there.
I think my biggest concern is, I'll be honest with you, I'm not in love with his antics. I don't find them to be interesting. They're not particularly good as far as pitching is concerned. His
around and stuff.
His stupid bullshit with his wind up, where he thinks that he's something
he don't do it anymore,
or whatever he's doing. I don't care for it, and I'm telling you right now, if he brings that shit to the postseason and does not pitch well, it will not be well received. It's going to be a case of, why is he fucking playing? This is the World Series.
Yeah, I think they have to really evaluate.
And when I say playing, I don't mean playing the game. I mean playing around like a child.
I think it depends on his healthiness. If he's really able to be effective and throw the ball well, you'll probably see him on there. You might as well put him on because you aren't using Marcus Stroman. Marcus Stroman's wasting a spot anyway. And if you feel like Marcus Stroman's not good enough to be in the postseason, then he's not good enough to be on the roster for the World Series. So you might as well put on Nestor Cortez
I agree with that, but again, if he's going to bring his,
which he doesn't really do that very often.
Okay, you see it enough this season to sit there and
be
like,
he's not going to be used as a starter. He's probably going to be used out of the bullpen. He's probably not going to be able to. If he comes in, it's going to be probably runners on base or let's get out. I don't think he's going to fuck around that much when it comes to the World Series.
Again, I'm saying is I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm saying is if he comes onto the mound and he does that nonsense and they're not winning and it's because of him, it's not going to be well received. It's just not.
Yeah.
That's what it comes
I
down
also
to.
said we didn't put it up, but he says he's pitched well versus Otani. So.
That very well may be true.
I have to look this up.
But I would love to see the stats of every other Yankee pitcher against Otani because I'm fairly certain.
I want to see Otani's stats against the Yankees. Let's see if we get it up. I'm gonna try to look it on my phone. Nick, if you want to move on to the next one, but we'll come back to this.
Yeah, I can. This is from StatMuse.
Yeah,
Shohei Ohtani has a batting average of 209 with 19 hits, 9 homers, 18 RBIs, and 20 runs scored in 26 games, which sounds really good, but he's still batting 209. That's versus the Yankees. If you only did, I wish I could do it that it was at Yankees. Oh, there it is, at Yankees.
Yeah, I think you can.
It won't show me like the over. I would have to sit here and do the math. Because I know like his stats against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium are not good as far as hitting is concerned. Like
in New York,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 7 hits at Yankee Stadium in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. So in 15 games, he's got 7 hits. Let's do some quick math, right?
Well, how many?
Arguably, you get about 3 at bats per game. So if he's got 21, he's got if he's got 14, is it 14 games? I said 14 games.
15.
15 games at Yankee Stadium. That's 45 at bats, arguably, and he's got 7 hits. He's got 7 hits and 45 at bats.
I have the Teoscar Hernandez stats. He has a batting average. This is all-time Yankees. This is.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to
know. He has 69 hits in 79 games. He's batting .233 against the Yankees, 17 home runs, 47 RBIs, and 35 runs scored in 79 games in the career against the Yankees.
Wow.
All time. So that's the guy. I think that's the guy the Yankees have to be careful around. I mean, listen, it's a good lineup. The reason why they're in the World Series. So you're facing the best of the best, and that's it. So we'll just remain hopeful. The Yankees still grinding away. They've been grinding away at bats too, just like Glaber has been amazing.
Absolutely, Anthony Volpe.
Anthony Volpe's been picking it up in the postseason. Has great grinding at bats, walks or hits, and then even Rizzo. I mean, he's even had little base hits here and there to help spark some sort of rally. So, we have a good lineup too. 1-9. They have 1 as well. So it's gonna be a fun one, and I think people are underestimating how good it's gonna be. A lot of people don't like the Yankees, don't like the Dodgers, and it should have been somebody else. But last year, people were complaining
when it was the stupidest shit in the world.
But people were complaining when it was the Diamondbacks versus the Rangers. They're like, oh, we don't want to see this. These are the 2 smallest market teams. Who cares? But now you have the 2 of the biggest market teams, and everyone's like, no one wants to see this either. So what the hell do you want to see, MLB fans? What do you want?
They just don't like the Yankees. That's what it comes down. They don't like the Yankees. They don't like the Dodgers. It's straight up jealousy. That's all it is.
Their owners spend money, unlike them. And if you're going to complain about the Dodgers spending money, what you need to do is everyone's like, oh, there should be a salary cap in baseball. There should be a salary floor. We talked about this before. They should make the Royals. They should make whatever other teams that don't spend money.
The
Rays, and make them spend their money to make their teams more competitive, and that fixes the problem. So,
but so just so everybody's so Shohei Ohtani in 15 games against the Yankees has 55 at bats. He's batting 127 with 8 RBI and 4 home runs at Yankee Stadium.
There's not really.
It sounds nice. 4 home runs in 15 games sounds really nice, but an 8 RBI not when you're batting 127.
No,
it's 127 with quite a few strikeouts too. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17 strikeouts in 55 at bats.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great. You strike out 30% of the time.
Oh, so two more comments. If Jazz does anything, that'd be huge. Yeah, I mean, if Jazz walks, that'd be huge. And then he said Verdugo needs to stop swinging the first pitch. He's in there for his glove, but maybe he will be motivated against his old team. That's true. They did trade him away. They sent him to the Red Sox. But I think the problem with both Verdugo and Jazz when they're batting is the first pitch swinging. I mean, Jazz is swinging every time at the first pitch. It doesn't matter where it is. He's swinging first pitch, and it's just guessing at that point too.
Absolutely.
So
Honestly, you see with a lot of these guys, they're just guessing. But and we used to get frustrated with Sanchez about it.
Know who's guessing? I think you pointed this out too. Was Austin Wells. He's just swinging at the same spot, hoping the ball finds it, and he just crunches.
Absolutely. He's doing HLP. HLP is a concept that you swing at the same spot, hoping with the same approach, hoping that the ball will find that area.
Yeah. And he's also extended his, if you watch him, he swings outside the zone a lot. He's extended
zero adjustments.
What'd you say?
Zero adjustments.
No, exactly. And he's consistently, if you watch him, he's swinging at the fastballs that are slightly above the strike zone. And he has not adjusted to the fact that they're going to throw him up high up there. Just leave him because they're not going to be where he's that one sweet spot that he's looking for. He needs to adjust it. I'm sure they're talking to him. I hope Volpe took him out for some chicken parm. And he figures it out.
He needs to talk to Rizzo. He needs to talk to Rizzo, and Rizzo needs to tell him, dude, you've got 2 strikes. Shorten the fuck up. Choke up on the bat and get a base hit. Stop trying to hit a fucking double or a home run. Yeah. You don't need a slugging percentage when you're batting fucking 0 for your last fucking 90. Like, slugging percentage is out the fucking window. Yeah. Start with a single and work your way up.
Exactly. And another comment from my brother said, I know you want to swing first pitch because that's like the new wage of like the way they're thinking is it's the best one you get, but it isn't the regular season, it's the playoffs. If you're rallying, I take a pitch. I agree 100%. When there's a guy on first and second and then Jazz comes up and he just swings the first pitch and it just goes right to the pitcher or to the first baseman. It's brutal, but we got to move on now. We're running out of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whiskey of the week.
I'm drinking
that. I still laugh at that.
Why was that funny?
The fake voice that TJ used, the microphone, and then the gunshot at the end. Shotgun. So you must be reading my mind because I opened it. I just poured myself. So I got, what do you got?
I'm drinking, this is called Kilbeggan. This is Kilbeggan's triple cast. Meredith brought this back for me from Ireland. So this is actually straight out of Ireland.
Irish
whiskey. So this is Irish whiskey, which I normally don't drink Irish whiskey. I think the last one I drank was the 69th, the Fighting 69th one.
Yeah, the Fighting 69th, which
isn't really Irish whiskey. It's American whiskey that's with homage to Ireland.
Yeah. And that was actually really good because I usually don't drink Irish whiskey on the rocks. I usually mix it with like Guinness or put it in a car bomb or a ginger ale. But that one you actually drink on the rocks, and it was very good.
I was shocked at how good that was because I really thought it was going to be straight up garbage. Because I know the guys from the 69th, and they drink fucking Jameson and love it, and I'm like, that is trash. Jameson is swill. I don't care what anybody says. Jameson is goddamn garbage.
It's just good for car bombs and with ginger ale.
That's it. Or Jack Daniels.
Or Jack
Daniels. Coke. Do you do JMO and Coke?
You could do Jack and ginger though too.
You could do Jack and ginger.
How's that taste though?
That's weird. This is pretty good. It's subtle. It doesn't burn. It doesn't give you the Tennessee hug or Kentucky hug. Kentucky hug. You're not getting that from Ireland on this one. Jameson has like a really harsh aftertaste. This is pretty smooth at the end. There's a little bit of ice in there, but it's actually really good. The triple oak, I think it's triple oak. Oh, triple cask. I can't say whether or not it's oak. It actually matured in 3 different cask types: a bourbon cask, a sherry cask, and American oak cask. So that's probably why it has such different notes in there.
Those are those casks that they do when they empty out all the bourbon out of the barrels. They send it over to Ireland.
Or they send them to Puerto Rico.
Well, they send them to Jack Daniels too. Jack Daniels take them too.
They send a lot to Jack Daniels. Absolutely. But this is pretty good, actually. If you find Kilbeggan out there, I've had a couple of their whiskeys right now. Kilbeggan's pretty good. If you find it out I'm in the wild, that's what it looks like.
I'm interested now. I might have to look that up.
But there's one with a horse on it. Try that one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I got Larceny. I was on TikTok and I've been following. My algorithm finally picked up the fact that I like drinking bourbon on TikTok. So I've been getting nothing but bourbon things. So I had a bourbon cocktail. It was for October for the fall season. It was apple cider, and the guy used this bourbon, Larceny. So I was like, you know what? I always see it in the store. I'm going to pick it up. It's a small batch. Wheated bourbon, mash mill, Johnny Fitzgerald. I think who's it made by? I forgot who. I forgot who they were. I gotta remember where it was. They're associated with another. Obviously we were talking about we were in Kentucky. Like Brown Foreman makes like all different bourbons, but like it's not just Old Forester. But Larceny, it's pretty good. It's there's no Kentucky hug with this one. Not a good burn on the back of it. Typical bourbon, nothing crazy. But what I made with this was I made a apple cider drink. What it is, it's apple cider, bourbon, maple syrup, and cinnamon sticks. You mix it all up. It was actually really good. So if you're looking for a fall cocktail and you're a bourbon drinker and you want to just mix a little bit, please don't use one of your high-end whiskeys or high-end bourbons. Larceny actually mixed pretty well with it. So
if you're feeling ill, you can also make penicillin, which is made with Johnny Walker Black, some honey, some ginger, and some lemon. That's a cold beverage too for those who don't like hot beverages.
And orange bitters too. You got three little splashes of orange bitters in there. Great cocktail. And there's a good bourbon. It's a pretty good bourbon. It's not like it's, as you always like to say, it doesn't blow wind up my skirt. But if it's just a bourbon laying around, you want something. It's not too expensive. I think it was like $30 for it, which isn't bad. So definitely pick it up if you want just a regular bourbon taste. It has the oaky flavor. Obviously, it's bourbon, so it's good. But it's good though.
Nice. I think that's all we got for that. So. Strange to say, the Rangers are losing right now 3-1 to the Florida Panthers after starting the season off very hot to the point where it looked like they might never lose. Igor Shesterkin not having the best day, and the Rangers obviously not scoring like they have in previous games. And that's why I always worry about blowing your load on one game. You play. They played against the Canadians the other day, and they took the Habs took a beating. Would they lose 7-2 or something like that?
Yeah, 7-2.
The Habs took a beating the other day, lose 7-2, and I'm thinking to myself like 4-2 would have been sufficient. 7-2, we could have used those 3 goals today.
Yeah.
We'd be up 4-3 right now. Not that you can do that, but if you could, I wish we could. Obviously, there's game's not over. It's still another period of hockey left. So
here's the issue: you can't go up 2 goals in the first 3 minutes of a game. I mean, that's just
you cannot.
You're putting yourself behind immediately, and within the first minute, Lundell scores a goal. So that's not great. But they've been playing really well. If they lose this game, it's the first time they lose in regulation this season. They're 5-0-1. They get a point every game for the first 6 games. So, I mean, listen, it's still a good start. Florida Panthers is still the Florida Panthers. They're a good team. And the Rangers,
nobody cares about them and nobody goes to their games, but yeah, they're a good team.
No, but they are. They're the defending Stanley Cup champions.
Absolutely. They're a good team.
Just like Rangers last year. So, I mean, that's the team that's your measuring stick. I know it's early in the season, but you got to play well against them. I mean, it's 3-1. But absolutely. You think about it, you play better in the first 3 minutes, you got a tie game.
Absolutely. And therein lies the difference, right? You know what sucks is this game's in front of the Madison Square Garden faithful. If you're gonna lose a game to the fucking Panthers, do it in Florida. So we don't have to witness it in New York. Yeah, and on the day of Liberty have their parade too. Really? Should have won the Liberty.
We're paying a lot more than Florida Panther fans are paying to see the Panthers. So
absolutely,
what
Florida Panther fans?
There were a lot in the stadium when the playoffs.
They were giving out jerseys in the fucking parking lot, and they banned anybody who wasn't from Florida from fucking buying tickets.
How many people in Miami are playing hockey recreationally?
Luis Mendoza.
One. Let me laugh too hard. I'm gonna start coughing. Have a cough.
I noticed. Did you ever notice Luis Mendoza looks suspiciously like Benny the Jet Rodriguez?
It's weird. I don't know how they must be lost brothers, twin brothers apparently.
They have to be. They're both fast. What was that about?
Who was faster? Who do you think was faster, Benny the Jet,
or
Luis Mendoza?
Shit.
But it depends. Are we talking about do you race them?
Are we talking blue line to blue line? Are we talking fucking first to home? What are we talking here?
What are we talking? Do you have to put Luis on ice?
I don't know. I'm gonna say Luis Mendoza is faster than Benny the Jet simply because he's older.
Oh, that's true. They are older at that point.
Benny is like 12. Luis has got to be at least 15.
I wish there was a way they should have just made those universes the same, but obviously impossible.
Well, the fact
the
that they were set like 50 years apart or something like that,
Yeah, it was like
40 years apart, kind of made that a little difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
But
What
yeah.
All
right. What's that?
Let's talk about who's the better fat guy, Hambino or Goldberg?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The great Hambino is better than Goldberg.
Right. Goldberg was just like, he was just there. Even when Julie the Cat Gaffney came, he lost his job. Like, that's how bad Goldberg was.
I'm trying to figure out how Goldberg ended up staying because I could have sworn he was moving back to Philly.
Yeah, that too. And I also could have swore, like, why would you carry a goalie that's like that terrible? Like, you're telling me the United States couldn't produce a backup goalie better than Goldberg for the Team USA? And like half their players came from Minnesota. Like, it just happened to be. I mean, Minnesota does have good hockey.
I was going to say, because when in the 80s, half of our Olympic team was from Minnesota. The other half was from Boston, right?
So, yeah, I know. That's true. This is the 90s, though. But I get it. Half the teams in Minnesota makes sense. But you're telling me you couldn't find a backup goalie better than Goldberg? Come on.
Did it bother anybody else that Goldberg was clearly Jewish, but he was a little like Sephardic Jewish or something?
Yeah, he was.
He was very dark skinned for a Jewish
Goldberg,
man.
But he acted like Italian, right? Like
he worked at a Jewish deli too. His family owned a deli.
They did. Yeah, but he was. Yeah, you're right. He was like Sephardic.
He was very, very like Sephardic looking, like dark skinned. You're like, he sounds Italian. By the way, Italians are just Jews with better food.
I know.
Tony Soprano said so. All right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There's that episode of Family Guy where he's like, "Oh man, I thought Brian's talking to the two executives and he makes a joke about Hitler or something like that. And he's like, what? Nobody's Jewish here. And the guys turn and go, I don't know. Are you Jewish? And they got big noses. And they're like, and he's like, oh God, I'm so sorry. He goes, we're Italian. Italians are not Jews.
I do remember that. That is funny.
Then they laugh about it. Family Guy's hilarious. Moving forward. Knicks started the season on Tuesday, I believe. I did not catch the game. I was watching other things. But from what I understand, they played very well. It just that the freaking Celtics were on friggin' fire. In more pathetic news, Celtics fans decided to say, like, fuck the Yankees or something like that, or Yankees suck. They're chanting Yankees suck at their fake garden up there in Boston. And I can't say how pathetic that is. It's not even the same sport. Anything to add about that?
Yeah, it's just stupid. I mean, it's the dumbest thing ever. It's if they were a Yankee game and they were chanting that, fine. But you're at a basketball game, and the Yankees are in the World Series, and your team's been sitting at home for the last month and a half.
Their stadium's been turned to the spirit of Halloween.
Seriously. And I mean, the Knicks didn't play terrible. They could not miss from three. The Celtics.
Yeah. It happens.
And people were like, oh my God, this sucks. Like, they're losing this game.
I think the Knicks were over 60% shooting.
The Knicks, I mean, they lost big. It was what, like 132 to 109 or something like that. So it wasn't.
But again, they were still over 60% shooting.
Yeah, they were still played very well. It's just, and people were like, oh, Cat didn't really do that right. He played fine. I think he's the first game. Yeah. Wait till they come back to the Garden. It's one game. We got 81 left. I mean, listen, the Knicks weren't going to come out and just win. You wouldn't expect the Knicks to win, start the season off 12-0 or something like that.
Absolutely correct.
They got to grind out wins. They got to play better defense, and that's what it was. They play good defense, but the Celtics were hitting everything. So perimeter defense is something to work on. I'm sure Tibbs probably grinded that out with them in practice and figured it out, but they'll be fine. I'm not worried. Yep. It's one game. Yeah.
Jets suck. Giants suck. Hassan Reddick reported to practice yesterday. Nobody gives a fuck because you're 7 weeks too late, pal.
Yeah, they waived his fines. She said part of a new deal.
No, they didn't waive his fines. They restructured his contract. So if he hits certain marks throughout the year, the money that he'll make will basically erase those fines.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Per the CBA, you cannot waive fines. So they just made it possible for him to recoup that money throughout the rest of the season.
I got you. Well, he
has to end the season with like 20 sacks to recoup all the money that he lost.
And he's only playing what? How many games left?
10 games.
10 games left. Oh, yeah. It was already 7. Yeah. I mean, that's 2 sacks per game. So you better step it up here. But yeah, I mean, that whole thing was ridiculous. For Joe Douglas to trade for him and not know that he was not a holdout. He wasn't going to play.
But that wasn't the case. Apparently, his management had a deal in place for him that they agreed to with Joe Douglas. And then when his management went back to him, he said, "No, I'm not signing it." And that's why his management team dropped him.
Oh, that's what he switched with Drew Rosenhaus, right? Yeah.
He didn't switch. He got dropped, and then he needed to go find an agent, and Drew Rosenhaus to take anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't quit with them. They were like, "Dude, you're costing us money. Goodbye. We're not going to do business with you because you won't do business."
And what about Devontae Adams post game? How do you feel about that?
Devontae Adams post game. I think he's absolutely right. I don't understand how a player on your team does well and the rest of the team's not fucking pumped about it.
Well, I said first game, but yeah, I was gonna get to the post game statements too as well.
Oh, I thought Devontae Adams. Listen, I'm not a huge Devontae Adams guy, and there's video footage of me shitting on Devontae Adams over him knocking over that photographer for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then looking at the photographer like it's his fault. I just, I didn't like that at all. Obviously he wasn't injured this whole time. He didn't want to play for the Raiders. I don't think that that's a high character move either. You're a man, you put your name on a contract, you honor your contract. That's what men do. Trust me, I've put my name on plenty of contracts and lived up to every single one of them.
He just signed a new one.
Yeah. So no, I don't think he just restructured. Oh, me? Yeah, I just did that. Yeah.
You did just sign a new contract.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, his first game was as would be expected for somebody that just got to the team, hasn't played in a few weeks, doesn't know the playbook to the extent where you got him out there every single play. I think his assessment of what is going on was spot on. And it'll be good to have somebody that has that swagger on the field to relate to other players that have that diva mentality. And like it's good to have the guy that is a diva so that nobody else can become a diva.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like he's only been there not even a full week, and he was like already stepping up and speaking. And that's good. I mean, he clearly sees there's something wrong with the locker room.
But again, if my point is he's a diva, absolutely. Most wide receivers are.
Yeah, usually.
If you were worried about Garrett Wilson becoming a diva, Garrett Wilson, I don't think anybody's out there is under the impression that Garrett Wilson at this point in his career is better than Devontae Adams. And if you're not better than Devontae, and he's the diva on the team, right? Like there's only one Beyonce, and it's Devontae. He's Beyonce, and Garrett Wilson can be fucking Kelly Rowland, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I did not want to happen is Garrett Wilson become Beyonce on a losing fucking team.
Yeah,
you don't want that. That causes more problems than that causes Keyshawn Johnson type problems.
Does it worry you that like this is another one of Aaron Rodgers' friends coming in and really
not at all, much? Not in the least. I saw one of your fucking boys, Chris Canty, sit there and call Aaron Rodgers a cancer to a locker room. Meanwhile, he was voted as fucking teammate of the year on an anonymous poll from his fellow teammates. There's countless players that are like, I'm going to go play for the Jets because Aaron is there. But yeah, Chris Canty, you're totally fucking right. He's a cancer. That's why people want to play with him because he's awful.
No, I don't think that. But the fact like they came out where they scored 15 points, like they still weren't like the offense still isn't clicking. They switched to play callers and Jeff Ulbricht's taking over. Like, what did you see in that first game that was different than what you saw when Rob Saleh was there?
Being able to drive the ball down the field in the first quarter. So the deal for me was very simple, was the game was in the Jets' hands until that interception to end the first half.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets win that game. If he doesn't throw that interception to end the first half, the Jets win the game easily, because it did not look good for Pittsburgh up to that point, because the Jets, if he doesn't throw that interception, they possibly go downfield, score points, and then they get the ball to start the next half.
Mm-hmm.
So now you might go 14 unanswered points at that point. Now you're talking the Jets are up, what, 7 plus what they had 15, 22, 29 to what, 16?
At that point.
It'd have been 29-16, and it's an entirely different game. Instead of you losing 37-15, maybe you win 29 or 32 to fucking 20 or 21.
And not to mention the fact they lost 37. That Najee Harris touchdown was unnecessary. Like, how many times do you see in the NFL? Like, a lot of those guys just go down. Let's kill the clock. Najee Harris just scored it.
Well, the reason is because at the end of the year, even though it's a garbage time touchdown, he's still going to sit there and use it as negotiations down the road. That's what it comes down to.
No, I know, but Devin Singletary did it for the Giants. The Giants were about to win. He had a wide open touchdown. He just took a knee, just dropped down.
All due respect to Devin Singletary, I think it's a class move. It really is. As far as business is concerned, that was really stupid. At the end of the year, when he's due a new contract, they'll sit there and say he only had fucking 4 touchdowns. And he's like, oh, it's because I fucking laid one down because I'm a good guy. And they're like, yep, well, that good guy just cost you $1.2 million.
Yeah, you think his agent watched that and was just like, oh, what are you doing, dude? That's more yardage, and there's another touchdown.
Absolutely. But that's all we got this week. Unless you got anything to add.
I was going to say, I'll talk about the Giants, but there's nothing good to talk about. Like,
I thought Daniel Jones got benched. I don't know why he got benched, but he got benched.
He should be. He's terrible.
I mean, the backup, I saw somebody sit there and go, the backup didn't do much better. You mean the backup quarterback was just as bad as the starter? Look at my shocked face.
Yeah, I'm not surprised Drew Lock wasn't better than.
In what world was he supposed to be better than the starter?
Honestly, what they should just do is they should just drop Drew Lock to the emergency third quarterback and just let Tommy DeVito play again. Just see what he's got.
Interestingly enough, don't stop with that fucking Tommy DeVito.
No. I know you're going to say stop that nonsense. First of all, Tommy DeVito runs the same offense. Daniel Jones has not thrown a touchdown at MetLife Stadium for 2 seasons now. Tommy DeVito has 4. All right. So
again, that's because of the expectations. That's like the difference between Severino playing for the Yankees and playing for the Mets.
Let me finish. Because that means Tommy DeVito can run that offense better than Daniel Jones, who you're paying $40 million a year. Okay,
that guy should be in the fucking USFL.
If the third string emergency quarterback could run that offense better than Daniel Jones, then that's a problem. And Daniel Jones is the problem.
Guy. The difference is that when Daniel Jones throws an incomplete pass, you people boo him when he's leaving the stadium. Okay, when Tommy DeVito plays fucking asshole, you sit there and go, "Yeah, chicken palm." All right, it's a huge fucking difference.
He had 1 good season out of 6 years.
You know what Geno Smith said today? Geno Smith, they asked him what went wrong in New York. He goes, well, I wasn't as mature as I could have been or as I am now. And honestly, the media in New York is very difficult to deal with. You have to have very thick skin, and it's not an easy place to get along. He didn't say, which is a fact, is that New Yorkers are fucking assholes, and whether you win or you lose, they will treat you like dog shit the minute things go bad, okay? When you're booing your quarterback as he leaves, he's not even at work anymore. He's walking out of the stadium, and some loser sat out there waiting to boo him. The parking lot's empty. There's nobody there. But Randy fucking Quaid is coming over to be like, you suck, Daniel Jones. And you paid to watch that guy play. You suck too, guy.
I don't agree with waiting around for them to leave the game and boo him.
Tommy DeVito gets lucky because he has no pressure. He's Mike White. He has 0 pressure to perform. It makes life a lot easier. It's like being a fucking hitter, getting into the box with no expectation to get a hit whatsoever and getting a lucky hit, as opposed to Aaron Judge, where the whole world is watching you and you're like, fuck, I better get a hit right now. Basically, Shohei Ohtani at Yankee Stadium. Be Shohei Ohtani right now. Do it. Okay, I don't know. It would be like being a comedian and somebody going, quick, say something funny.
No, but my thing is,
Tommy DeVito sucks dicks and balls. He is not good, all right?
No, but if he could run the offense better than Daniel Jones, he can. Give him the shot.
He can.
Tommy
DeVito's not going to be your quarterback of the future. All Tommy DeVito's going to do is he might win 1 game for you, and congratulations, you got a worse draft pick because of it.
I'm not saying
at least you're chicken palm, chicken gabagool, yeah.
He won more than 1 game, but okay.
Yeah. Chicken palm, gabagool.
I'm just saying, if the offense is able to run with a third string quarterback, then your first string quarterback should be able to do something. You agree with that?
You're absolutely right. But Tommy DeVito playing doesn't help any situation today or tomorrow. So why are you playing him?
Hey, you're right, because then he's not the future quarterback, and I guess
it makes no sense. You can play Drew Lock. But playing Tommy DeVito makes no sense whatsoever.
Because what if he's got a little something there?
He got nothing. You're not making the playoffs with Tommy fucking DeVito.
Don Bosco prep.
He's got fucking provolone in his fucking shoes. That's what he's got.
I don't know. The Giants are just a mess. The defense was good. Obviously, wasn't good this past weekend. It was an embarrassment. They lost Andrew Thomas for the year. The offensive line is going to be a mess. I forgot what his name is. The backup was brutal this weekend. You might as well throw Evan Neal out there again. Try him at left tackle. It's disaster again. It's the offensive line's always been a problem. It's always biting them in the ass. But that's it. The Giants are cursed. The curse of Tom Coughlin still lingers. The ghost of Tom Coughlin will be there forever.
I don't want to hear about that bullshit. Talk to me when you have a curse like Joe Namath.
That's true. It's been a lot more years for you, but that's still 12 years for us so far.
At the end of the day, at least we can all be thankful we're not the Browns, who's apparently their fans want to kill the players. The players want to kill the fans. The fans want to kill the owner. The city wants to kill the team. The team also wants to kill the city. And I'm not trying to shit on the Browns. God bless their fans. But like this whole day, all I've seen is about how the Browns players hate their fans.
And Deshaun Watson just wants more massages.
It's fucking crazy. I don't know what's going on in Cleveland, but God bless those people. I don't know what to say.
Jameis Winston, baby, he's coming in though. He's gonna fix the whole city.
I thought Jameis Winston and Myles Garrett last week were off the fucking rails when they were like, Deshaun's been a model citizen. What?
That was insane.
Really?
Was insane.
Really? Is that what we're saying? A model citizen? What citizen models themselves after Deshaun Watson? I don't know any citizens that get accused by 28 people of fucking sexual assault.
I think Deshaun Watson probably was like watching that press conference, spit his drink out like, me? No one's ever said that about
Deshaun Watson couldn't believe it. He must have been sitting there mid sexual assault, like, I can't believe they did this for me. This is so nice.
mid massage.
Yeah, he's sitting there like, funny thing about my Achilles is located on my cock.
Yeah, that's probably how it's gonna go. That's definitely how it's gonna go. Look out, whoever else
man.
Rehab.
But to the best of luck to Jameis Winston. I'm a big Jameis fan. Somebody sat there and said, didn't he sexually assault somebody too? And I'm like, no, he did not.
No, he stole crab legs, people.
He didn't steal crab legs either. What he did do is stand on a table and scream fuck her right in the pussy in the middle of the quad. But that's like, I mean, what is he, 20 years old at the time?
He's a child.
I'm pretty sure TJ did that last week.
Also, those crab legs definitely were given to him.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the time, NIL was not a thing. And had he got caught taking gifts from Aldi or wherever it was,
worse than him stealing them,
he'd have gotten suspended for 6 games.
It was Publix. Yeah, if it was
Publix. That's what it was.
Yeah. Love Publix. Publix subs.
It was definitely given to him if because that's what you do. And if he would have gotten caught, it would have been so bad for the entire program.
Much worse.
And he bit the bullet to save everybody. Because somebody would have came out and been like, what are you talking about? We give free food to all the Florida State players.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would have been really bad. And
funny thing, I'm pretty sure they won the national championship that year, or they went.
They did. And the thing is, I think it was that he was suspended to the half a quarter, like the half a game.
Half a game, yeah.
Which is always the funniest thing for me. College does that. But it was funny because he came out in full uniform in the first quarter and was like, "No, you're joking, man. I'm starting. I'm going out." They're like, no, like Jameis, take your uniform off, go on the back, come back at halftime. Like he was suspended for half a game. Why wouldn't you suspend him for the second half when you're already winning by fucking 6 touchdowns? I don't think you get to pick. I think you have to do the first half. I think that's what it happens.
Why? The team is the one that suspended him. I can suspend him whenever I feel like it.
I know, but I think there must be some sort of rule why they do, because it happens a lot. Where they only get suspended for a half.
Well, I guess you know what I guess I would rather know where I am with half a game to go, as opposed to being up and then losing it in the second half.
Yeah, like what if you're up by 3 touchdowns when then your second string quarterback just sucks and you
throws 6 interceptions and you lose the game? Yeah. I guess so. That does make sense. Anyway, best of luck out there to the folks out in Cleveland. The fans deserve better. I understand your pain. I'm a Jets fan. I understand your pain. Best of luck to you. I don't know what to say about your
Cleveland sports fans. Listen, you guys deserve better. You had the Indians came close in 2016. They blew that lead to the Cubs. I mean, you haven't seen a World Series since 1950 something,
45, I think, 48.
You had LeBron bring you a championship and leave immediately. You have the Browns.
LeBron left you twice. That's hurtful.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. Columbus. There really is no.
Columbus isn't Columbus. That's not Cleveland.
No, I know, but they all cheer for Columbus.
Well, they only got one team. What else are they going to do?
I know, but listen, it's a rough road for you guys. I feel bad.
At least you have Ohio State.
At least you have Ohio State, who hasn't won a championship since what, 2012 though.
Something like that. And then on top of that, they keep losing to Michigan.
No, 2015. I think it was 2015. 2015? Yeah, because I'm
gonna be honest, I hate the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think their mascot is fucking stupid.
I actually root for the
mascot is literally a nut.
I figure it is a nut. Buckeye is a nut.
Fucking nut. It's the stupidest shit in the world.
How about but what's worse is there's a mascot, but then there's a guy who dresses up every week, red faced, head like a helmet, painted on, and his shirt says "Big Nut."
And we'll end the show with that. We'll catch you all again next week. Love, peace, and chicken grease.